This was actually the second time that I was severely suicidal. The first time I actually attempted, I actually took a handful of pills and I had to go to the hospital and my heart almost stopped. It was a whole big thing.
This is Black Girl Thought TV, honey.
Hi guys, welcome back to Black Girl Thought TV. I am Annie Hens and this is still your inclusive source of health, wealth, and loving yourself. Okay. Y'all see this big ass zebra? My mom loved this zebra and it's terrifying. It's massive and it's terrifying, just, so everyone knows it's terrifying as zebra. But I think it's adorable and I think it makes a great background. All right, so this is a really kind of quick video, just updating you guys again. I feel like we just went over this, but before I kind of jump back into creating a ton of videos, I really just wanted to let you guys know a little bit about where I've been, because some really big, monumental, important things have taken place and I'm gonna be talking about them more in depth. And I know that a lot of you kind of struggle with these things based on my Instagram and my Snapchat and the messages I have gotten through email and things like that. So I just wanted to make a video explaining, my hair is wet. Okay, explaining what's been going on with me. I was back in October and you guys saw me and I started to create and pretty much I was severely depressed, and I pretty much have been depressed since I was about 14, to be honest. I've had symptoms since forever, so it's really difficult for me to it was really difficult for me to tell kind of where I was, I guess on a scale as far as depression, only because it's kind of my norm, or it was my norm. And I say was specifically because I am now on a really good treatment plan, and can talk more about that. My dog's barking, she crazy. So basically I was back in October, no, September, and I was making videos, and then in October, November, I pretty much was severely suicidal, and I had to go. Nothing makes her happy. If I bring her upstairs, she's barking, she's crying, take her downstairs, nothing makes her happy, so I apologize. Basically, I was severely suicidal because the adjustment from kind of living in England and being in graduate school to being back in America was really, really difficult for me. Because I've been in therapy since I was about 13, I know that when you're suicidal, you kind of tell someone. So I told my dad, and I told I think 2 friends, and one of them came to get me. Shout out to Ashley, love you. I stayed with her for about 3 weeks to a month, and basically when I was there, I was in an intensive treatment plan. So it's kind of this middle ground between the hospital and actually committing suicide. Kind of you don't have to go to the hospital, but they also want to make sure that you don't kill yourself. So, and within the treatment plan that you go into, I can make a video about my first suicide attempt, because this was actually the second time that I was severely suicidal. The first time I actually attempted, I actually took a handful of pills and I had to go to the hospital and my heart almost stopped. So it's a whole big another video on that, and it's something I'm going to be talking about. But basically, I got into this intensive kind of care program where I went to see a therapist once a week for an entire month, and I also saw a psychiatrist, and I was put on medication. And I was actually diagnosed with a few other things that I'm going to be talking about a lot. And as far as medication, I was on it when I was in London. But since I was probably about 16, I'm 24 now, all of my therapists have basically recommended medication because I've been severely kind of depressed. When you go through trauma, it affects the chemistry in your brain. So most people who go through trauma experience some sort of kind of mental something, especially if you're not actively kind of doing things to ensure that your brain is okay. So I I kind of gave in and got on medication when I went to London, and I was on sertraline, and it's basically the generic for Zoloft, and it only targets serotonin levels, and I had to get on a medication, Cymbalta is what I'm on now, and that targets serotonin and something that starts with an N, some sort of chemical in your brain that starts with an N, because there are actually, I believe there's 4 major chemicals that contribute to our mood, like endorphins and serotonin and things like that. So the medication I'm taking now is incredible. Like, I felt the difference. Like, I felt the difference when I first took it. Like, it kind of got me together. But basically, I was diagnosed with severe depression, and it was a wake-up call for me, because within the DSM, if you study psychology, you know the DSM, pretty much the book that says these are the symptoms of what you have, and this is the time period for which you kind of can display these symptoms and whatever. So he basically, psychiatrist made me read all of the symptoms, and there were about 10 of them, and I identified with 9 out of the 10, and that's when we realized that the depression was severe. It would make sense that like the next step is suicidal, because like the depression was that severe that I felt like there was no point for me to live. It was just kind of like whatever. So it was the severe depression. The anxiety comes with the depression. I was also diagnosed with OCD, and OCD is fascinating. I'm going to talk about it a bit, because people think that it's kind of like counting and like wanting to be clean, but it's actually a perpetuation and continuous negative thoughts that you can't seem to get out of your head. So I just continuously had this thought that my hair was going to catch on fire, and my hair actually did catch on fire, because like we create our reality. So like if you continuously think about it, it's going to happen. So like my hair actually did catch on fire one day when I was in London, and but still, like, I was like afraid to kind of sit by candles at dinner, and I was just so afraid that my hair would catch on fire, or I was so afraid that like just these bad things were going to happen to me. And he gave me the DSM again, and he made me read about OCD, or no, he gave me the sheet and he made me read about OCD, and I identified with a lot. And on the test, he was just like, yeah, you pretty much have OCD, like it makes sense, but it's just this, the symptoms kind of blend together when you have all these things going on. Depression makes you think negative thoughts and there's no reason to live, and anxiety makes you worry and think that something's gonna happen to you and you're concerned about your safety. Like, so it's kind of like they all blend together. But I do have the OCD, as in I have to continuously, but the OCD doesn't really kick in unless I'm anxious, so it kind of starts in steps. So as far as the depression, to me not wanting to get out of bed, that's kind of like the first sign, like not wanting to shower, not wanting to take care of myself. And if you have depression, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And then I start getting anxious, like fuck, like I'm not doing anything, like it makes me anxious, kind of not doing anything about like anything, like not getting out of bed, like it just freaks me out. And then I start having bad thoughts, like the kind of anxiety triggers the OCD, and it just gets worse. So there's the depression, the anxiety, the OCD, and I was also diagnosed with ADHD or ADD. The H is for hyperactive, and they usually use the hyperactive part when you're a child because you have teachers and your parents observing you, but when you're an adult, it's kind of adult ADD, only because you're not really hyperactive as an adult. Some people are, but I'm not really hyperactive. I'm pretty chill. I'm so sorry about my dog. So yeah, like I just went in and I was just like, and it's just like, no wonder you wanted to kill yourself. You were suffering from all of these things, and it's interesting that I managed to get a full scholarship to graduate school in London, even though I had ADHD and I struggled so hard in school. The material was easy, but sitting down to study and focus, and like just having this disability or these multiple disabilities that kind of are invisible, it's interesting. So I love education and I love teaching and I love kind of learning, and but I'm just really glad that I don't have to do it in this formal setting anymore, because like I don't know if I could survive that. I used to cry when it was time for me to write essays because it just became so hard to focus, and I have ADD, so it makes sense that it was hard for me to focus. I used to like buy Adderall from people on campus and like buy Vans. Like I used to like buy things because I'm just like, it's the only way I can get things done. But now I use a combination of treatments, and I can make videos on that. A combination of treatments, kind of blending exercise, because that definitely like ups the chemistry in your brain, the gut feeling kind of chemicals in your brain. So it's really good exercise and getting enough sleep. I'm actually on Ambien, so I pretty much kind of take sleeping medication every night, only because if I don't, I won't sleep. The anxiety and depression makes you not sleep, but it really helps. I'm certain that like I feel better because I know for a fact that I'm getting a good night's sleep every night. And sometimes if I'm really anxious, I'll wake up in the middle of the night and then I'll just take like a kind of half an Ambien and it'll put me back to sleep. Like, but I know for a fact that I'm going to get solid sleep, and that's actually really helpful. So I really want to talk about the medication kind of in other videos, because I know for a fact that like, especially where I'm from, like in the hood and within the Black community, it's just like, you don't need medication. Like, no, like you got this. And I denied it for a long time. And by the time I went to seek help, I was pretty much suicidal for the second time, and pretty much planning how I was going to kill myself. I said to my friend, I asked her, and I was kind of serious. I'm just like, do you want to like let me take a handful of pills and you kind of stroke my hair as I die? Is that a thing you want to do? And she was like, what the fuck? Like, no. Like, think I'm gonna say yes? Like, so, and now looking back on it, I can laugh, but in that moment I was genuinely serious. Like, I wanted her to be there as I died. And the fact that kind of I can, like the fact that I said that in that moment and it made sense to me was, it's insane to look back on it. But mental illness is legit, and it's like it's a big deal. So that's pretty much where I've been. I came back, I believe in like December, and I've been pretty much okay. I am kind of YouTube full-time and like jumping back in, but I wanted to let you guys know kind of like where I've been, because I really think it's unfair for me to just pop back up like, what's up? And it's like, bitch, where you been? So, I think that's pretty much it. That's really just kind of like this clumping together. Other things have taken place that I will like do other videos about. My car caught on fire while I was inside of it, and it was fucking horrific. It was terrible. And yeah, so there are other things that have taken place, and I have so much kind of in store for you guys and so much that I want to do, but I really wanted to do an update video. Please reach out if you kind of know about these things, and if you're on medication and if it helps. Like, I would love to kind of talk to people who are on medication and like if it's helping them, and like kind of if you notice the difference, like when you just knew your depression like was like, you just knew life was going to be better. Like, I would love to kind of chat with you guys about that. If you're struggling with like depression and things like that, I'm actually going to do a video on like symptoms of depression, because when I looked at that list, I was like, oh, I thought that was normal, like to not want to take care of myself and to not clean up, and I thought that was normal, like, cool. Like, and it was just like, no, these things are, it's depression. Like, I thought it was normal not to go outside. Like, no, not normal. So when I say normal, I mean like people with kind of, I believe, evened out serotonin levels and endorphin levels and these kind of things that make us feel good. I believe that they want to go outside and they love sunshine and things like that. And so yeah, I am better now, and I'm excited to be back, and yeah, I'm excited for what's in store for this year, and because I think it's going to be the first year in which like I actually get to experience myself, this person who is kind of, my brain is normal. And yeah, I just wanted to like mention suicide because it's so important. I remember my first attempt when the psychiatrist released me, he made me promise to get on antidepressants, and I still didn't get on antidepressants, only because I was just like, no big deal, I don't need it. Like, I'll continue to go see a therapist, and like talk therapy will help. I think the blending of talk therapy with medication, I think it's an amazing thing. Plus eating healthy, and kind of like, I'm vegan, so like I'm eating healthy and like my body's kind of functioning. I have normal bowel movements, like I'm like drink a ton of water. Like, it's kind of like, I believe that like this combination of all of these things have really come together to help me. I get enough sleep, I exercise like when I can. Like, I think that this has all come together to help me feel as good as I do now. So that's really it for now. I'm gonna make like of other videos on this subject, but you guys can send me questions and bring up things, and I totally will make a video just on like the question or the comment or something that you bring up, like, because it could help other people. I think it's so important to talk about these things. I think that judging by being suicidal twice, I know for a fact that like nobody teaches people how to talk to suicidal people, or even about medication, like where I'm from, nobody like wants to talk about it properly, as in like, hey, but you might need medication. Everybody's just like, no, you're okay, you don't need it. Like, I wasn't okay. Like, I wasn't okay at all. I needed it, and it saved my life. So yeah, this is Black Girl Thought TV. I am Annie Kens. Thank you so much for tuning in. Yeah, I've missed you guys. And I'll see you guys in the next one.